and let us all do we can to build a better future.
I'm going to enjoy doing this segment. It's a time to kick Democrats while they're down. I know. Sometimes the criticisms I get on this show is, Kit, you are too mean to Democrats. What about criticizing Republicans? I do. I criticize Republicans, but what more can I say that hasn't been done already? What more can I say? How more creative could I get? I know what to expect from the Republican Party. But, when I speak to Republican voters, I find some common ground. What a lot of people I've talked to who aren't fully brainwashed by the two-party system or corporate media, both parties suck. But sometimes I get a question from Republican voters, though. And, it's a little subtle, but hey, the Democrats are really, really corrupt, and yet they put on this mask. How come voters don't see it? That's a fair point. It's a very fair point. But yet a lot of vote blue no matter who people saying, oh, they got to be pragmatic. They got to be smart about it. They got to, be tactical. They got to keep their powder dry, like what Fat Tony, Cenk Uygur said during Force the Vote. Keep our powder dry. But now Democrats are starting to get scared. And I am eating it up because I said that this would happen. And to all those vote blue, no matter who people who kept on saying, you need to watch on Biden. He's going to deliver. He's going to be FDR 2.0. Well, right here, I'm on my anti-hero arc. So I don't have to be nice to anybody. And I never will. Because I see both parties as being horribly corrupt. But the Democrats, they're very clever on putting on a mask. But now, oh no. Democrats' suspicions grow about RFK Jr., Dr. Cornel West, and no labels. So first, again, look, I'm more in support of Dr. Cornel West running as an official Green Party candidate. RFK Jr., I'll follow his campaign and see just how far he'll get in the Democratic primary, but it's a rigged game. The game is rigged, folks. And of course, with no labels, that's just a centrist think tank, okay? It's not legit. Democrats aren't just growing concerned about some potential third-party presidential candidates. They're also becoming increasingly suspicious about those people's motivations. Oh, no. They're scared. Supporters of President Biden see several threats on the horizon beyond the Republican Party itself. Oh, no. Oh, no. Vote blue no matter who is crying. Quit popping up. What? Why is this thing keep popping up? Keep on clicking. Okay, well, I guess that's how it's going to be on the show. I guess there's a little inside joke that I don't know about. Okay, so continue on. RFK Jr. has gained more traction than many Democrats expected in his primary challenge to Biden. Potential presidential candidacy facilitated by No Labels group is causing concentration as well. And the decision by left-wing academic and author Dr. Cornel West to seek the Green Party's presidential nomination further jangles the nerves. And again, closing that out. The slenderness of Biden's 2020 victory in the Electoral College undergrinds many of these concerns. Even though Biden garnered roughly 7 million more votes nationwide than President Donald Trump, the Electoral College would have been tied had 3 states, Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, gone the other way. Biden's margin of victory in each of those states was less than 1 percentage point, to which I have to say, I don't care. Let me be very clear here. Popular vote means crap. The Electoral College supersedes everything. Vote blue no matter who. If you really gave a damn about election integrity, you would be fighting tooth and nail to get rid of the Electoral College, but you're not. That means Democrats are keenly aware of the potential for a third-party candidate to shift the result of the 2024 election and are equally aware of the willingness of Republicans and conservatives to nudge such candidates along. To which I have to say, first of all, the Green Party and the Libertarian Party are not associated with the Republican Party. And how many times have we seen this corporate propaganda being spewed against Green Parties and Libertarian Party candidates and independents? Oh, that somehow they're with Republicans, or they're with Putin, or they're with some other nefarious group. A vote for a Green Party candidate is a vote for a Green Party candidate. A vote for a Libertarian Party candidate is a vote for a Libertarian Party candidate. Notice those two parties? I did not say Democrat or Republican. A vote for Green is a vote for Green. A vote for Libertarian is a vote for Libertarian. I don't know how much more simpler it has to be. People are not robots. And I don't owe either party, Democrat or Republican, my vote. You have to earn it. You have to earn my respect. Because let's face it, as I've said it before in the show, these politicians don't like us. They don't think about us. They don't respect us. So I'm not going to respect them. The Democratic Party has made it abundantly clear that they can rig the primary and they don't accept the voters' decision. I saw it not once, but twice, as did all of you. And yet corporate media and Vote Blue, no matter who, people want to bully you again and thinking that, oh, if you vote green, you're helping Republican. No, you're not. If you vote libertarian, you're helping Republican. No, you're not. So they're scared. They're frightened. And now, again, Democrats tout war chest and they fret over third parties. They're scared again. They're frightened, as they should be. Democrats insist they're cheered by President Biden's recent fundraising numbers, fretful about eventual voter turnout for the octogenarian incumbent, and frustrated by 2024 spoilers and distractions from primary challenger RFK Jr. to a third-party drive by the mysteriously bankrolled No Labels. No Labels is a centrist think tank operation. It's not an official third party. The Hill put Biden at the top of the list of fundraising winners as the Federal Election Commission reported donations at the close of the year's second quarter. Together with the Democratic National Committee, the Biden-Harris campaign, and joint fundraising committees reported on Friday, raising roughly $72 million, an impressive total considering that many Democratic voters say they're lukewarm about the 80-year-old bid for a second term, according to polls. Although members of his party have knocked Biden for a Rose Garden-style slow start of election, the president has $77 million in cash on hand. Incumbency in presidential years has some advantages. Doubts have swirled around Biden's candidacy because his favorability rating is stuck in the low 40s amid concerns about his age and GOP attacks on his mental acuity. The DNC and the White House want donor activity to tell a different story, especially among smaller donations from grassroots, which averaged $39 among 400,000 contributors in the second quarter. So in other words, there's a little problem here. A little problem. What's the problem? Because according to the New York Times, and I'm sorry to put this upon all of you, the enthusiasm is a lot slower. So, gee, Hill, would you mind elaborating just a little bit more about this? So when President Biden traveled to San Francisco last month, he raised more than $10 million in 36 hours from wealthy Democrats. Trips to Chicago and New York netted millions more, as did fundraising events around Washington, proving that the party's big donor class is fully committed to Mr. Biden's re-election campaign. But here's the key thing. The small dollar online money spigot that helped Biden smash fundraising records during his 2020 presidential campaign has not yet turned on, and there are ample signs that it may be months before it does. So I'm going to talk to all of you face to face. There's probably a reason why small donor money is not being turned on, why the spigot is not blasting away in the Democrats' face. And I want you guys to be joining in on this conversation. So why do you think the small donor donation has not turned on? Now, obviously, the article is going to give you something different, but I want to give you my perspective. Type 1 if you think, well, the people aren't fully ready yet, but don't worry, Kit. Biden's going to get all that money. He's going to be dancing and twerking on the stage for all that money. It's going to be great. Type 2, no, Kit, man, people are broke. People are destitute. People are starving. Inflation is hurting millions of us. That small dollar donation is a thing of the past. People don't got time for that crap no more, Kit. I wonder how the audience will vote. Continuing on, the Biden campaign and the Biden Victory Fund, its joint fundraising vehicle, collected $10.2 million from small donors, defined as those who gave $200 or less during a 3-month fundraising period that ended June 30th, according to Federal Election Commission report filed Saturday. Don't give your money to Democrats or Republicans, folks. Don't do that. Don't do that. That figure is about half the $21 million President Barack Obama's campaign raised during the same period of his 2012 re-election effort. Well, that's because inflation wasn't that bad. Yes, the economy was struggling too. But, I mean, you know, plus Obama, let's be fair here, was a little bit more charismatic. Obama was always more charismatic than Biden. Just go out and vote. Democrats involved with Mr. Biden's campaign and the world of online fundraising detailed a host of reasons for Biden's relatively low, small dollar haul. So let's see what the excuses are. Excuses are like wazoos. Everyone has them and they all stink. Google and Apple have made it harder for email centers to see data about who has open solicitations. Inflation, hey, they got it right. Slowed political donations across the board. Donors are exhausted by the unending flow of emails asking for money, and recipients are responding to far fewer of them. I still get emails from Democrats, hat in hand. Hey, Kit, can you give me $10? I promise I'll do that thing, whatever it is, Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness. All these damn politicians asking me for money. You broke my... I almost swore. I had to stop myself. At the moment, Democrats aren't quite fired up as they were in 2018 and 2020, when Donald Trump's presidency opened floodgates of liberal money, or ahead of the 2022 midterms. College students, you got screwed over, man. I am so sorry. They really hyped all of you up for that $20K in student debt forgiveness. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that happened. When the Capitol riot, the rise of the election denial movement, and the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade all motivated donors. Hey, by the way, liberals, Roe v. Wade still overturned. Just throwing it out there. Weren't you guys supposed to be in the streets, liberals? All you activists? I remember all of you from 2016 and 2020. I remember all of you wasting my time out there covering all of you at Trump Tower. Again, hold on. Side note, unrelated. But again, this is why I've lost the majority of my respect for activists and people who protest in the streets. Because in Chicago, I've said this before in the show, but again, hear my rage. They would always start somewhere in downtown Chicago and then march to Trump Tower. But it'd be across the river. And they'd be herded like sheep into a cage. Now, Trump Tower is a private building here in Chicago. It's not a federal office. I remember asking these activists, hey, are you guys ever going to, protest in front of these senators or House representatives' offices? You ever going to, hold some of these Democratic lawmakers accountable too for their actions? Because a lot of these guys are doing the same kind of things that Trump is doing. And it would always be more of a smug no, or we got to do this in the name of humanity and stop fascism. Wasted my time covering those events. Again, continuing on. And Mr. Biden is not an insurgent candidate. Ugh, yeah, right. Who is motivating students to put up posters of him on dorm room walls, as Mr. Obama or Senator Bernie Sanders did in their campaigns. His low-key White House and bare bones campaign haven't yet motivated supporters to rage donate to his campaign. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why. He never followed through. He was never going to do it. Right now, there is no day-to-day combat going on, said Jeffrey Katzenberg. Hey, Katzenberg, why don't you just throw more cash or give Cenk, Fat Tony, another $20 million? Maybe he could motivate some young people to vote blue no matter who. The Hollywood mogul, whom Mr. Biden named co-chairman of his campaign. Oh, my goodness. So these are the most loyal, most dedicated believers and supporters. It'll build over time. Good luck. Mr. Biden's campaign highlighted an array of statistics to promote its grassroots donor operation. Nearly a third of its 394,000 donors did not contribute to Mr. Biden in 2020, the campaign said. Yet the president's finance reports show that he is far more dependent on the wealthiest donors than Mr. Trump was in his reelection bid, or Mr. Biden's opponents were in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary contest. 10 donors, including Mr. Katzenberg, Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, Stuart Branham Jr., again, a hotel magnate, gave $500,000 or more to the Biden Victory Fund. Another 82 donors contributed $100,000 or more. Well, Biden, why don't you just go ahead and bug them? So what's the significance of even talking about Biden, his campaign worries, and the Democrats' fear of third parties? Well, I want to talk to you guys about a thing called contingent election, okay? Now, a contingent election is used to elect the president or vice president if no candidate gets the majority of the whole number of the electorals appointed. This is the Electoral College. And I've had a few people reach out to me over the weekend saying, Kit, what will happen if neither candidate, or if the Greens or the Libertarians were to get some electoral college votes as well, and there's no clear winner. It's called a contingent election, and we haven't seen one since I want to get the hold on, let me pull up my notes here. 1801, 1825, and 1837. Okay, so in these elections, there wasn't a clear winner. Okay, now, of course, the country was way different during those time eras than it is now, but more or less the somewhat same rules do apply. But let's talk about more specifically the definition of a contingent election process and what does that look like. And to be honest and to give you my full opinion, how I feel, you don't have to agree with me. But I do hope that the Green Party and, yes, the Libertarian Party do win one electoral college state, just so we can have a contingent election. I want to see that in my lifetime. I told you, I'm on my anti-hero arc, so there you go. The contingent election process defined here is in Article 2, Section 1, Clause 3 of our wonderful U.S. Constitution. So what it is, it's under the 12th Amendment, and in 1804, the House of Representatives, and this is probably going to trigger Democrats, which, again, who controls the House of Representatives currently right now? Republicans. The House chooses one of the three candidates who receive the most electoral college votes, and while the Senate chooses one of the two candidates who receive the most electoral college votes. So we got ourselves a little uh-oh here for a moment, because currently the Senate is divided, and you have a House of Representatives controlled by the Republicans. See what I mean when I've been praying and hoping that 2024 will be a very interesting and intensified election year? I want to see this. I want to see this happen. I need to see this happen. I want to be entertained and laugh at liberals panicking, because that's what's going to happen. So again, this is a contingent election. That's what it is. So it's a process, but again, it's important that we remember that this is something that's causing a lot of fear amongst Democratic voters. But going forward, I want to pull this video up from Case Study QB. And be sure to follow Case Study QB on Twitter, because he's doing fantastic work. But the fear of, again, third parties and what they can do. So let's pull this up here for all of you, because the vote blue no matter who people are crying. They're scared. They're panicking. And I'm loving it.
This big no labels movement, right? In theory, we could all say, we're tired of two parties. This is a big country. We need more. We like this idea of a third party. But in reality, is there anything different this cycle, right? That will actually create a real path, that a third party candidate has a lane, or is this just the same thing we're going to see over and over, and it's just another spoiler?
I worry about it being another spoiler. I worry about RFK. I worry about Cornel West. I just feel like
they're so scared. They're afraid of Dr. Cornel West. They're afraid of RFK Jr. You know what? Good. Be afraid, because the world is moving on. It's time for the old system to die. So many people are triggered by Donald Trump, and I get it. I get it. But look, it is not my fault that Donald Trump was able to capitalize on his movement and inspire his supporters and continue on with their cause. Bernie Sanders chose to abandon his movement. Bernie Sanders chose to side with the Democratic establishment that screwed him over not once but twice. Biden and his administration chose never to follow through with any of their promises that they made to the cuck Bernie Sanders. Biden and his administration chose to keep things as they are to make sure they wouldn't fundamentally change, which led it to get progressively worse. Biden and the Democrats chose to abuse people and continue on with false promises. It's the Democrats, vote blue no matter who, corporate media, that built this false notion that somehow things are going to be okay. You just had to wait, keep your powder dry, be pragmatic. All those groups made that decision. And so now you have corporate media panicking, making people, vote blue no matter who people, lose their ability to think critically. I'm going to vote independent because I believe it's the right thing to do. And more importantly, we need something different. And it's time for Americans to wake up.
There's a muddying of the waters where God knows, I really feel like on the Democratic side, we need to just really get together and hang tough together. So that does work.
A bidding 71. I'm calling you out on the live stream chat. I love that. I love that reference you just brought up. Bernie, my name is Reek Sanders. That's a perfect comparison of Bernie Sanders. His name is Reek. That's his name. Bernie the Cuck Sanders. Reek. I'm going to use that from now on. That's a perfect definition of Bernie.
Me. I don't think it's going to really have an effect, but it's worrisome.
What surprises me, Guy, is how many people from Wall Street love this idea, right? That's who fuels No Labels, right? I was at the Milken conference and like they were throwing checks at No Labels, so excited about this idea, but it's so disconnected from how our electoral process actually works.
No, it's not. I mentioned contingent election. It's been done before. Now, of course, the country was different. It wasn't 50 states at the time. But it's time for another choice. Now, again, I want to be very clear here for anyone that's hyping up on the No Labels movement. It's nothing but centrists, neoliberal Democrats and Republicans coming together, and of course, Wall Street funding this. It's not legit. Okay, so anyone thinking that anyone's part of the No Labels movement are mavericks or free thinkers, don't. Same thing when I hear conservatives saying, "Oh yeah, I like Kristen Sinema. She's a maverick." No, stay away. Are you not paying attention to the knives she put in people's backs? If you're a conservative Republican, you think Kristen Sinema's on your side. Listen, look at me, listen very carefully. She stabbed the activist community in the back. Okay. She used to be a Green Party person. She stabbed them in the back. She used to be a progressive Democrat. She stabbed them in the back. And yes, she was listed vote blue no matter who, liberals. She stabbed them in the back. Are you not paying attention to bodies? She'll do that to you. Okay? She doesn't respect anybody. And if you think she'll respect conservative or Republican voters or libertarian voters, no, she will not. And anyone part of that No Labels or centrist or independent kind of thing, stay away from it. It's a cancer.
Do these big money guys not actually know that? They just are so sick of the parties that we have and the potential candidates. They're like, I'll just go for the flyer.
I think there's a vanity aspect to it. I mean, why not throw some money? Because, you know, you could say at your cocktail party on the weekends of what you're doing. I think they get a kick out of it. I think if you had a lie detector on most of them, they would suggest, you know what, we know this is not going to work, but we sort of enjoy doing it along the way. And maybe at some point it sticks. But to answer your question, no. I mean, this is a two-party system. It's going to be, listen, Ross Perot back in the day.
It's only a two-party system because the system was rigged from the start. It's only a two-party system because corporate media keeps telling us it's a two-party system. And again, they're going to probably be bringing up Ross Perot. But look, people were laughing at Ross Perot when he made that vacuum cleaner noise about NAFTA. Hey, show of hands. How many people are laughing now? Because that man was right.
He had about a 5-minute window where there was a shot. Since then, really nothing viable has come across the.
Again, nothing viable. It's because at the state and federal level, there are laws that prevent third parties from being on the ballot and being on the debate stage. I have covered this numerous times when Hardlands Media started. I've interviewed Illinois libertarians, Illinois Greens, and there is a system set up to make sure and prevent third parties, independents, don't get a vote. That's how bad it is. But you won't hear that from BSDNC.
The precipice of anything.
It is interesting, though, to see RFK Jr. sort of as this perfect creature for this moment of conspiracy theories, of online clout.
When you said perfect creature, I'm like, what's coming next?
What's coming next?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, God. These people. Listen, I'm not going to tell all of you what to do, but help your loved ones get unplugged from corporate media. It might be an arduous task, but trust me on it. These people are nothing but talent. And none of these people at corporate media are good people, okay?
I know. He, I think, is enabled by this weird moment we are in which platforms and the attention economy have really made it possible to balloon your influence simply by sort of appealing to people's, broad dissatisfaction, to the ways in which platforms make it possible for you to sort of latch on to these little niche audiences. He's someone who I think in the old traditional media landscape would have been cast out immediately, but is somehow like finding oxygen.
Finding oxygen because you people have taken out the oxygen. God, man. A lot of these people are ignorant. Okay. A lot of these people who work for corporate media, they live in their own safe space bubble. But hang on, continuing. I'm sorry to impose all of this on all of you.
New ecosystem we all live in now.
I mean, I have to say I disagree. Like, I'm a political reporter. I cover politics. I say if you think that you should be president, you think you can be president, you should get in and you should run. You should try to win. And if you want to give money to that person, you should give money to that person. I think that this is exactly what democracy is supposed to be like. There's oftentimes these third-party campaigns. They end up being vastly more embarrassing for the people who do it than it is when it starts out. It's really fun at the beginning, right? Look at us. We're doing this third thing. And then in the end, you're like, nobody voted for you.
I'll let him finish.
And everybody's mad at you and you wish you hadn't done this. But the idea of like breaking the two-party system, sure,
very romantic.
Do it. I mean, if you think you can and you think you have the right message, please come on in as far as I'm.
Your new ecosystem.
Well, first, and what Mr. Chubby here has to say in regards to third parties is that there's a whole system in place that prevents third parties from getting the support, that prevents voters from voting for third parties. And the thing is, corporate media contributes by embarrassing third parties even further and contributing with the myth that, oh, they're spoiler candidates. Now, other democracies have able to pull off the fact that they have multi-parties. Okay, somehow they're able to make it work. Somehow they're able to successfully keep their countries afloat without everything catching on fire. Ross Perot was not a spoiler candidate. Ralph Nader was not a spoiler candidate. Dr. Jill Stein was never a spoiler candidate. These are individuals who stood up and did the right thing, but yet they got vilified. I stand in solidarity with third-party voters and third-party candidates because the two-party system wants to continue this myth of, oh no, you will ruin everything. That has to end now.